Last night, the corrupt, crooked, and biased MSM finally died. And we got to witness the collapse live in real time on both sides of the Atlantic as so-called journalists who have spent decades pretending to be impartial purveyors of truth allowed their guards to drop so significantly that they are now forever exposed as activists. And are so out of touch they had no idea it was going to end this way. Indeed, they thought they were being so clever.
With candidates both making history in their own way.
Harris, the first black woman to run, Trump, the first convicted felon.
Oh, good work, Sly News. Isn't that great fun? But it wouldn't take long for one of their guests to expose them for being in mourning once the result was announced.
You know, I think, again, it's important. There's been a lot of negative commentary here, and I'm sorry to, this sort of slight atmosphere of mourning in this studio, and I, apologise for sort of puncturing it. But, of course there are question marks about Trump, and they're legitimate question marks. I think it's fair. You talk about guardrails, and, his behaviour has been extremely reprehensible. But I think it's also worth trying to understand why this has happened.
Channel 4 had the sanctimonious lefty hag Emily Maitlis and unbearably smug Krishnan Guru Murthy to set things up for a Trump defeat. And somehow the channel managed to convince the former UK PM Boris Johnson to be their whipping boy alongside a porn star whose entire living came from shagging Trump for cash and then pretending that she's now holier than thou.
As I detail extensively in Unleashed, the book.
I don't know why it's funny. I mean, I don't know why it's funny. You just heard what he's like as a character, and I'm asking you.
Because I don't accept your analogy at all. I think it's very dangerous and sloppy to make analogies between the US and the UK.
No, it's not between the US and the UK.
And model yourself on him at all. And I think that people compare Brexit with the advent of Donald Trump. Brexit was actually supported by people across the political spectrum.
You're not answering the question. Just go back to the question.
I'm answering the question directly.
It's about Brexit was institutions and behaviour, isn't it?
And I believe that in my administration we had complete respect for institutions.
Not the Parliamentary Standards Committee, not the Privileges Committee, not Parliament.
We had respect for the decision of the...
And this went on and on and on and on, with Maitlis getting more and more and more aggressive, until Boris tried to fight back.
Here's Channel 4 News, run by Ian Katz, sitting here doing the same old stunt that you tried in 2004, where they're taking a massively skewed approach to a US election.
I'm trying you to account for your actions.
Hang on, I'm not standing for election here. Am I, Stormy? Am I standing for election?
Well, then I have a simple question.
Do you have? If you want me to stand,
children?
I have, yes.
But would you leave your daughter alone with Donald Trump?
Look, I mean.
But the whole reason I asked the question.
I don't see why. I don't see why not.
But the pathetic lefty stunts weren't over yet. Lefty Scottish actor Brian Cox, from Succession, he's all of a sudden been determined to be an acceptable political commentator on an apparently serious news broadcaster.
And we have to make sure that he doesn't get in, because he's a monster. He really is. He's crazy. He's insane. He wants to be a dictator. I mean, it's all been so clear what he's been talking about. I don't know why the American people aren't listening to him. Well, some of the American people clearly are listening to him, but a lot of them aren't. The kind of nonsense that he's been talking over the last... I think he's lost it, quite frankly. I think he's deeply mentally unstable. And I think he has been for some time. This is not a man who should be the President of the United States. Absolutely not. He's unreliable. He's a convicted felon. I'm horrified, for instance, I'm a lapsed Catholic, and I read today that he's got huge support among Catholic voters, and I find that extraordinary, that Catholic voters would vote for such a man who is, in terms of the Catholic Church, a big sinner, a big, big sinner. So I find it all rather depressing and curiously ridiculous.
And all of this was designed to give the out-of-touch elite the boost they felt they deserved before an inevitable Kamala Harris victory.
What I would say is that to say that Donald Trump is a fascist or a monster or that he wants to become a dictator, I think
He said that.
Well, I think it's
he said it himself, Boris.
Doing it.
He said it himself. I mean, why don't you listen to his words? He actually said it himself.
I think
he said it himself.
Everybody, and
he said he wanted to run the show.
They have truly lost their minds. But the Americans knew not to take that sort of bull. And Sean Spicer, former Trump spokesperson, managed to completely own arrogant Maitlis.
Because they were kicking people out of line. That's a fact.
Do you not
so
think
if
there will be a fair
please,
process?
Emily,
I'm just asking you, do you think there will be a fair process in Pennsylvania? Just answer that, because you've started
Do I
saying
think
you're
there will
worried
be?
about Pennsylvania.
We're already seeing one county in the middle of Pennsylvania having a court order to stay open until 10 o'clock tonight because of issues with ballots. So I hope so. I believe that's the case. There have been a lot of reforms since 2020 that were made. And I'm hoping for that. I want the American people, I want everyone to walk away on both sides tonight and say we had a fair and free election. You know, if you're... Can I just finish for once, Emily?
I'm just asking, will you accept the results?
Absolutely, I will. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Let's pause.
But then things turned, and they turned oh so beautifully. The Americans, it was becoming clear, had decided to reject woke in the most spectacular fashion and change history. So, of course, sticking with Channel 4, Stormy, Trump Shagger, and Maitlis were left speechless.
They think that Trump has a 71% chance of winning the presidency. Stormy.
I'm not surprised. What can you say? I mean,
we can say it's too early to say it's a result, but this is just
Christine,
the Hill's
do you
decision.
still think it's the red?
Oh, honestly, you can inject me with that clip. So cute, one of the best meltdowns of all time, as Maitlis ended up swearing consistently and then storming off set.
And I mean, I'll tell Emily off later, but because I know she started the swearing, but it may be the middle of the night in Britain, but they're still a little bit sensitive about that stuff.
When Colin Brazier, the ex-GB News presenter, woke up, he posted, "This morning the mainstream media in the UK is clearly struggling to hide its disdain for tens of millions of Trump voters, just as they did for the millions of Britons who backed Brexit." And no one human being represented that better than the former Conservative, he's really not, MP Rory Stewart, who had been so confident in Kamala's victory. He'd pledged to bet £100,000 on her winning. Watch.
Incredibly confident that Kamala Harris is going to win this, and win this by a large margin. And I would bet £100,000.
Oh, Lord.
I'm very, very confident Kamala Harris will win, and I think the odds are ridiculous. I think the fact that they're favouring Trump so much don't reflect your big point. The number one fact that I think all that really matters is, apart from my belief that the polling companies have panicked and their models are broken, is that women support Kamala Harris, young women, much more than young men. So we've talked about this. There's a kind of 16-point lead amongst young women in Pennsylvania, where Trump has a 17-point lead amongst young men. And all you need to know is young women are much more likely to vote than young men.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all we need to know, is it, Rory? During one of the most awkward live broadcasts in the history of media, the worst political pundit in the UK, who'd been flown out to New York for the occasion, started doing all sorts of mental arithmetic alongside an equally perturbed Alistair Campbell.
You know, it's. I think again, it's important. There's been a lot of negative commentary here, and I'm sorry to, this sort of slight atmosphere of mourning in this studio, and I, apologise for sort of puncturing it. But, of course, there are question marks about Trump, and they're legitimate question marks. I think it's fair. You talk about guardrails, and his behaviour has been extremely reprehensible. But I think it's also
all turned out to be wrong, completely wrong. I don't think, though, that I was fundamentally wrong because I'm patronising towards people. I never felt that. I never felt that as a politician in Britain. I didn't feel I was patronising towards my Brexit voting constituents. I think I was wrong because I'm an optimist. And I hate the idea of being right pessimistically. I think you can be a false prophet and right. You can align yourself with the worst instincts of humanity. You can assume that everything's going to hell in a handbasket, or you can hope. And my bet on Kamala Harris was a bet on the American people, it was a bet on liberal democracy, it was a bet against populism, and it was a bet on hope.
Never listen to these people again. People like the fake news agent who have no idea what's going on with the people, so their punditry is worthless. And can we just soak in the expression on their faces? Oh, I love that. Now, watching woke TV as the realization of a Trump victory dawned was equally satisfying.
Able to pull it out, but that's where the campaign still is like, everybody just calm down, because we didn't need Georgia, didn't need North Carolina to win. But if we can hold on to those other 3 states in the upper Midwest, then Kamala Harris can still win.
I mean, we still don't have a lot of Michigan in. Only about a third is in. Pennsylvania, we know, of course, they're going to be counting some of those mail-in ballots through the night. Wisconsin's still waiting to get it in, but as I'm looking again at the New York Times Needle projections, which we've cautioned a lot on that, they say that there's a 66% chance Trump's going to win Wisconsin, a 70% chance Trump is going to win Pennsylvania, and a 66% chance that Trump is going to win.
What we're looking at now is the very real possibility that Trump sweeps all 7 swing states. I mean, that's pretty remarkable.
And wins the popular vote.
Yeah. And wins the popular vote.
And it happened. So Tom Bradby, the left-wing presenter who is BFFs with Prince Harry, actually then went on air and accused Trump of being a fascist.
And all the rest of it. There will be a lot of people watching back home who saw what General Kelly said, who saw what General Milley said, and just will not be able to conceive that the most powerful democratic country in the world has elected somebody who people closest to him called a fascist. Now,
some,
yeah,
to be fair.
Yeah. But just setting aside hyperbole for a minute, are there reasons to worry about what a President Trump might do in a democratic sense? Is that overstated? And if there is reason to worry, what would that worry be directed at? I mean, he's not really gonna, try and change the Constitution and run for a 3rd term, I wouldn't have thought.
We think?
No.
And he must never be taken seriously again after that. But even though all of X had known the result for hours, the MSM networks couldn't bring themselves to declare for Trump. So it was actually left to Newsmax to call it first.
All right, Newsmax projecting Trump taking Pennsylvania, 51 to 48%.
Well, that means he's the next president of the United States, because those 19 votes added to what he has would put him at 270.
This isn't.
So Donald Trump, according to our projections,
we are calling it
124 of the United States.
It's a Newsmax projecting President Trump. President Trump has been reelected.
And then Fox News, they went for it second.
The Fox News decision desk can now officially project that Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States.
The former president's comeback will be complete with a win in Wisconsin, a state that he narrowly lost 4 years ago. He is now the second president in U.S. history to win non-consecutive terms. The first was Grover Cleveland in the late 1800s. Senator J.D. Vance will become the 50th vice president of the United States. Voters express deep frustration with the Biden administration, and former President Trump and the future President Trump overperformed in urban areas, particularly with men, proving that the strategy that they doubled and tripled down on over the course of the last few months absolutely succeeded and brought him back to the White House.
This episode is brought to you by Manscaped, the global leader in men's lifestyle and grooming. Every man knows the unbeatable feeling of a fresh barbershop shave. Now, what if I told you that you no longer have to wait weeks or even months between appointments to experience it? I'm introducing Manscaped's latest release, the Chairman Pro Package. The all-in-one set includes everything you need to recreate the luxury of a professional shave right at home. Whether you're after that daily silky smooth finish or prefer to maintain a rugged 5 o'clock shadow, the Chairman Pro Package has you covered. First up, we have the star of the show, the electric foil shaver. This isn't just any shaver. It comes with 2 interchangeable skin-safe blade heads. You have the 4-blade foil for that close, smooth shave when you're looking to go absolutely clean. And you have the skin-safe stubble trimmer for when you want to keep a bit of a rugged look. Both heads are designed with skin-safe technology to help reduce razor burn and irritation so your skin feels smooth and comfortable after every shave, reducing redness or discomfort. A standout feature that truly differentiates the Chairman Pro from the rest is Flex Adjust technology. This innovative tech ensures a superior shave by allowing both blades and the pivoting head to seamlessly adapt to the unique contours of your face and is gentle on the neck area, helping you maintain great contact with your skin at every angle. And the Chairman Pro is waterproof, so you can use it right in the shower. It simplifies the cleanup too, just a quick rinse under the sink and you're all set. It isn't just for daily shaves either. It is powerful enough to tackle up to 5-day growth, making it perfect whether you're shaving every day or just tidying up after a few days. With up to 75 minutes of runtime on a single charge, you won't have to worry about running out of juice mid-shave. It also comes with a travel lock to help keep it from accidentally powering on during travel. But that's not all. The package also includes the Power Shave Gel to get the ultimate wet shave experience. It's packed with skin-soothing ingredients that defend against redness and irritation. And to finish off, we've got the Face Shave Soother, and aftershave serum is a game changer. So you can get the Chairman Pro package today and experience a shave that is as smooth as you deserve. Head over to manscaped.com and join the over 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by using the code OUTSPOKEN for 20% off and free shipping. That's www.manscaped.com using the code OUTSPOKEN. Stay on top of your grooming game and be ready for anything the season throws your way. And then, after history was made, all hell broke loose in the elite class, especially, bizarrely, in the UK. The unhinged Carol Vorderman, who hours earlier had been confidently predicting a Kamala victory, thanks to some sort of crappy video by will.i.am. Well, she was the first domino to fall. She posted reluctantly on CNN, "Looks like Trump will win. God help America and the UK too when he introduces tariffs against us very soon. Right-wingers voted Brexit to cut back UK trading with the euro market and cheered on a man who'll cut back trade with USA. Well done. But the boats, or should I say the bait?" But they were all to follow. They were all to follow. So you know James O'Brien has just lost the plot recently, very red-faced. But here he was back in 2021, predicting that Trump was finished.
Time I ask it. I know he's finished now, he's gone, but Trumpism, the corruption of truth, the corruption of observable reality, that doesn't disappear with Trump. Millions and millions of people still believe the lies he tells them. And I don't understand it. I've never understood it. You know, my theory is that it all comes down to racism, stroke white supremacism, call it what you will. But that's not a very reassuring thought, even if it turns out to be true.
Oh, he's finished, is he, O'Brien? Can you imagine the actual breakdown in the LBC studio this morning. Well, actually, we don't have to imagine it. We can just watch it.
It doesn't matter enough. The fact that he tried to steal the last election, the fact that he was prepared to subvert the entire democratic process up to and including the assault, a potential assault upon his own vice president. The disowning of his most senior former colleagues, the condemnation of his former military chief, the use of the F word by his former chief of staff, the condemnation from his own national security advisor. None of it mattered. Brackets enough.
It didn't matter because it was bullshit. It wasn't true. It was an MSM creation. But look, if you think things are mad here in the UK, they went totally wild in the USA, with Joy Reid of MSDNC accusing Florida, you're not going to believe this, of becoming a fascist state.
It's a pure Project 2025 in miniature in Florida. And that kind of extreme, sort of extremist, right-wing, fascist-type government in Florida, does that make it a more attractive place?
I repeat, the MSM died last night. CNN soon decided the result was both sexist and racist. They love exhausting identity politics as an excuse for everything. I wonder how they'll explain the massive swing of black men to Donald Trump or the massive swing of Latino voters to Donald Trump. But of course, CNN, they live in another reality. Because it's this sort of coverage and this interview, oh my goodness, it's embarrassing, but it's this type of coverage that they had been running with for weeks.
Who did you vote for today?
I voted for Kamala Harris.
Why is that?
I have 3 daughters, 4 children overall, and women's rights is pretty important to them and my daughters. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional about that. I didn't think that I was going to do that, but, just their bodies, their choice type of a mentality. I want them to grow up in a world that's welcoming to everybody. So yeah, that's why I cast my vote today.
Surely that's not a straight man. And what about all of those celebrities who were going to swing it for Kamala? So my thoughts and prayers today are with Taylor Swift, Beyonce, J-Lo, Cardi B, and virtually every other close friend of P. Diddy. Once again, their endorsements of the Democratic nominee fell flat on their face. Guess what, guys? After Epstein, we're not going to trust Hollywood celebrities ever again. In fact, the only endorsements that really seemed to matter in this cycle were the independent media sensations Elon Musk and Megyn Kelly. We must never forget that Oprah Winfrey told us this one day before the polls closed.
If we don't show up tomorrow, it is entirely possible that we will not have the opportunity to ever cast a ballot again. And let me be very clear. If you do not make sure that the people in your life can get to the polls, that is a mistake. Deciding not to decide, that is most definitely a vote to let other people control your future. Now, we all know what we're voting against. So I want to end by reminding you about a few things that we're voting for. We are voting to defend and protect the Constitution of the United States. We are voting for values. We are voting for values and integrity. We are voting for the right to choose what happens to our own bodies.
You can't keep lying to us, even if you're Oprah Winfrey. We are sick of it. We are fed up with it. No more. No more. You're lying. So yesterday did not just mark the beginning of the end of woke, it marked the end of the mainstream media pretending to be real journalists. And I'm here for it. God bless you, President Trump. Now, the Superstar panel. And what a panel we have today. Live from Michigan, Father Calvin Robinson. Live from the UK, June Slater, the MAGA mama. And live from the fascist state of Florida, according to Joy Reid, Samantha Markle, of course, sister of the Duchess of Sussex, but most importantly in the context of today, Trump supporter. So, Sam, there you are in the fascist state of Florida. Have you had your champagne yet?
Oh, my God. Well, we are here in the fantastic free state of Florida now, one of many free states. We are sleep deprived, but we are energized. Oh, my God. And fascists? Wait a minute. Where did she get that? No, that was just crazy. And I think that kind of fear mongering is pretty typical of Democrats. You know, I think, yeah, they have a right to go into mourning because their narrative of the New World Order, their narrative of infringing on the Constitution and censoring free speech. They want to call us fascists. We have salient examples, from vilifying parents who don't want their children indoctrinated and having the DOJ and the FBI knock on their doors, to having, students groomed, to having parents' rights taken away. Their children could be gender mutilated or transitioned without their consent. Who's the fascist, Joy Reid? I mean, we are elated because the fascism perpetrated and pushed, and we were afraid of that, by the left, many of whom you and I know, right, are probably being paid by globalists to push that narrative for control, for tyranny and totalitarian control. They lost. And why are they pissed off? Why are they in mourning? Because they might have to pay back some of the money they took to keep pushing that narrative. We are not the fascists. We defend the Constitution. We are sighing, we are screaming relief today and elated that we are not the fascists, that we've ended fascism.
Amen.
Yes.
Yeah, globalism also hopefully died last night. Calvin Robinson, Father Calvin, is that a MAGA t-shirt?
This is a MAGA t-shirt. We're full team MAGA today. It's amazing out here in Michigan, honestly. I've just been downtown.
Tell me everything, Calvin. What was it like last night?
Oh my gosh. I can't remember the last time I slept, but it is absolutely fantastic. So here in Michigan, we currently have 98% of the votes counted. So there's 2% they're dragging their feet over. But I'm hearing from the people on the ground that we have taken Michigan, that Michigan is going to turn red or has turned red, and the Democrats are just doing whatever they can to stall it. So that's fantastic news, because if you remember last time around, Michigan was one of the places where there were 17 precincts where there were more votes than registered voters. So there's some dodgy activities. This is the place, in fact, where they closed up the windows so you couldn't see inside, so that we couldn't count the votes. So this is a state that is very dodgy. The Democrats are cheaters outright. And so this time the Republicans have been keeping an extra close eye on them. And so I think this is why it's going to be one of the last states to be counted. But it looks like it's gone red.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.